Today's video breaks down the common airport mistakes that are getting travelers into big trouble. Avoid these. The first big mistake travelers make is waiting to check in at the airport instead of doing it online. You can check in online starting 24 hours before your flight. Get your digital boarding pass and head straight to security. No check-in lines, no extra stress. But if you skip the online check-in, you risk setting yourself up for disaster. That's because there are strict automated check-in cutoff times. For international flights, it's usually 1 hour before departure. For domestic, typically 45 minutes. And here's the brutal part. Even if you've been waiting in line forever, once that cutoff time hits, agents are locked out of the system. They literally cannot check you in. Even if they want to help, they can't. But wait, it gets worse. United Airlines recently changed their domestic check-in cutoff from 30 minutes to 45 minutes without much notice. So if you were used to the old rules and showed up 35 minutes early, you're out of luck. And here's an even sneakier problem that I continuously see catching travelers off guard. If you show up at the counter with a carried-on suitcase, the agent might decide to measure it. And if it's even slightly oversized, by half an inch, they can force you to check it. That means that you'll have no access to it during the flight. And there's also the risk that the airline is going to lose it, or it ends up being delayed on arrival at your destination. And some airlines, like Frontier, even giving gate agents commissions for catching oversized bags. That means that agents that are at the check-in counter and also at the gate as you go to board the flight are being incentivized to flag your carton for being even just a tiny bit oversized, as every time they do, they are going to get paid for it. You are also going to have to pay to then check your carry-on in. But if you already checked in online, you can skip the counter completely. Checking in online doesn't just save time. It protects you from missing your flight, from hidden fees, and from unnecessary headaches at the airport. Let us know down in the video comments if you have ever missed a flight or had a close call and almost missed a flight due to missing a check-in time. I definitely have. So you've avoided mistakes number 1 by checking in online before you go to the airport. That's great. But you also don't want to make the mistake of relying on only your mobile or your digital boarding pass. You should absolutely have your boarding pass in the airline's app. But take one extra moment to print a backup pass either at home or for free at an airport kiosk. I learned this the hard way when my iPhone decided to do a random update right as I was boarding a flight from Bangkok to the US. Luckily, I had a printed backup, which meant I could still board with my zone number instead of stepping out of line, waiting for my phone to reboot, and becoming the last person on the plane. Having both a printed as well as a digital boarding pass means that you are going to be prepared, regardless of what technology decides to fail you. The third mistake is posting your boarding pass on social media. This one makes me cringe every time I see it, which is often. You're excited about your trip, so you post a photo of your boarding pass, maybe even blur out your name, thinking that's enough. But here's the problem. That barcode or QR code can be scanned to access your full name, frequent flyer numbers, itineraries, and even passport info in some cases. Scammers love this stuff. And on top of that, any post showing you're traveling is basically announcing to the world that your home is empty. And it's no surprise that criminals will actually monitor social media for this type of information. Sometimes we make it too easy for them. The fourth mistake is not having your liquids properly organized for security. The TSA 311 rule is still very much a thing. Liquids, gels, and aerosols must be 3, 4 ounces or less. all packed into a single quart-sized, clear plastic bag. The mistake we see constantly at the airport security checkpoint is when travelers don't have their liquid. The S bags are easily accessible either in an outer pocket of their carried-on suitcases or their personal items bags. Then they get to security, hold up the line, and ended up triggering extra screenings. Just don't be that person. Pack your liquids in an easy-to-grab spot. Keep them in a clear bag, and be ready to pull the whole thing out into the bin. It takes 5 seconds and saves a ton of stress. The fifth mistake, not knowing exactly where your gate is or how long it'll take to get there. Even if you want to grab food or chill at a lounge, walk by the gate first so you know exactly where it is and how long it takes to get there. Don't just assume that Gate 30 and Gate 31 are next to each other. I personally learned this lesson the hard way after I found out that Gate 31 was in fact not beside Gate 30, but instead it was a bus ride away in another part of the terminal. Oops. At the very least, use Google Maps. A lot of airports have detailed indoor maps now that show how long it takes to walk between points. This saves you from making a panicked sprint through the airport when you realize that your gate is actually much further away than you originally thought, or when you realize that your gate is actually through another immigration checkpoint with a very long J-line that may or may not have been the cause of me missing a flight home from Portugal last summer. The sixth major airport mistake would be going to the wrong gate because you relied on incorrect, outdated gate information. Gate assignments change constantly, and the gates listed on your printed boarding pass or the screenshots on your phone might not be corrected by the time you get through airport security. Those flight information screens throughout the airport are your most reliable source for real-time updates. Even your airline app might not be accurate if you lose Wi-Fi and it doesn't refresh. The seventh mistake is mixing up departure time with boarding time. If your flight is scheduled to depart at 7:30 and you stroll up to your gate at 7:15, you've probably already missed the flight. You've definitely already missed the flight. Domestic flights usually board 30 to 40 minutes before departure and close the gates 15 minutes before. International flights can start boarding an hour before and shut the gates 15 to 25 minutes out. And if the gate doors have been closed, there is no amount of begging or pleading that is going to get those gates reopened and allow you to board the flight. Here's my tip. Set an alarm. I set mine for 1 hour before departure on domestic flights and 90 minutes before international. That way, even if I'm distracted, I won't miss boarding. The eighth major airport mistake would be not condensing down to the airline's 2-item limit and getting in trouble as you go to board the flight. We talked earlier about agents at check-in being on the lookout for oversized bags. But here's the thing, even if you manage to avoid them, you still need to get past the boarding gate agents. Most economy tickets have a 2-item limit, 1 carry-on suitcase, and 1 personal item bag. The mistake I see constantly is travelers accidentally trying to board with a 3rd item without realizing it. Here's exactly what happens. You're wearing a crossbody sling bag or fanny pack, which counts as your personal items, but you also have a backpack or laptop case plus your carton suitcase. That's 3 items, and you are likely going to get called out as you go to board the flight for being over the limit. If you want to wear a sling bag or carry a purse, keep it discreet under a jacket or put it inside your personal items bag or carry-on suitcase while you board the plane. Once you raise seated, you can take it back out. This is another reason why you do not want to be sitting at your gate too early. Because if you are sitting there with 3 items or an oversized carry-on or so on, gate agents are able to scope you out early on, and you will be the one that ends up being flagged for having too many items or oversized items. Remember that airlines also have strict dimensions and sometimes weight limits for both carried-on suitcases and personal items, which you can find on their website. And to add to the confusion, some ticket types are even more restrictive. United Basic Economy, for example, only allows one personal item, which means a small backpack, laptop bag, or purse. You heard that right. No carried-on suitcase whatsoever is included with a United Basic Economy ticket. Pay close attention to your specific ticket type and airline baggage allowance before you even pack. Make sure everything you're carrying fits within those limits to avoid last-minute surprises and potential fees at the gate. Another mistake that's so serious that it is even leading to people getting kicked off of flights would be wearing the wrong outfit to the airport. Earlier this year, a woman was denied boarding on a Spirit Airlines flight because her shorts were considered too short. The situation escalated so badly that her sister was arrested after confronting staff. Spirit has since updated its dress code to explicitly ban boarding for passengers who are barefoot or inadequately clothed, which includes see-through outfits, crop tops, and anything exposing too much skin. And Spirit Airlines isn't alone. United, Delta, and even some cruise lines have tightened their dress codes in 2025, which means if staff think your outfit is inappropriate, you can be denied boarding and you won't get refunded. That's on top of security already flagging people for baggy layers, metal parts, and bulky clothes or accessories that constantly set off alarms. At the end of the day, you want an airport outfit that won't set off alarms, won't cause boarding drama, and still keeps you comfortable and maybe a little stylish for a long day of travel. And that's exactly why I partnered with Halara on this video. My airport outfit is usually a combo of Halara's Flex denim jeans and one of their Softly Zero tops. The jeans look like regular denim, but feel like yoga pants. So you get the comfort without that thin, overly tight legging look. That can sometimes feel a little revealing. Many of the styles also skip the buttons and zippers, so there's nothing to set off alarms at security. And the stretchy waistband makes sitting for hours on the plane so much more bearable. On top, I'm obsessed with Halara's Softly Zero activewear shirts. They are super flattering and have styles with molded cups, so I don't even need a bra. I am obsessed with these, which is evident in the fact that I practically live in them both when I am traveling and when I'm at home. My partner is getting tired of seeing them. You can find the link in the video description to check out Halara for yourself. And then don't forget to use the code TRAVEL at checkout to save an extra 20% on any full-priced items. Another major airport mistake would be not knowing your boarding zone or group and missing your boarding time slot or trying to board before you are supposed to. Airlines are getting serious about enforcing boarding zones to fight what they call gate lice, which is the unflattering term for passengers who crowd the boarding gate as soon as boarding begins. Even though their zone hasn't been called yet, some airlines, like American Airlines, we have installed new automated scanning systems that will reject your boarding pass with a loud beep if you try to board before your group or zone has been called. It's a little embarrassing, as I imagine nobody wants to be called out with a loud beep as they try to get on the plane in front of all of the other passengers and then sent to the back of the boarding line. But here's why knowing your boarding zone matters beyond just avoiding embarrassment. If you miss your boarding zone or your group altogether, it means that you're also boarding the plane late, and by the time you get on board the flight, there may not be any overhead bin space left for your carton. You might end up being forced to gate check your carried-on suitcases to baggage claims, which means no access to your belongings during the flight and risk of delays or lost luggage. Your boarding zone. which is sometimes called a boarding group. It is usually printed right on your boarding pass as a number between 1 and 10, or as a letter between A and D, waiting for your zone to be called. Have your boarding pass ready and board with your assigned group to avoid the embarrassment and delays that come with trying to cut the line. The good news is that every single one of these mistakes is completely avoidable if you just know what to watch out for. I'll put a video on the screen now with some additional tips and tricks that can save you both time and money the next time you head to the airport for you to watch next. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel videos each week. And if you enjoyed these videos, then you will definitely love my weekly newsletter, which includes tips and tricks that I don't share anywhere else. Thanks for watching. Happy travels, and I'll see you in that next video soon. Bye.